The Haunted Treehouse. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town named Willowville, there stood an old, creepy forest at the edge of town. Its dense trees and eerie atmosphere made it a place that the townsfolk seldom dared to venture into. Within this sinister forest, hidden among the gnarled trees, was a legendary treehouse, said to be haunted. A group of curious kids, all around the age of 12, were drawn to the treehouse by the rumors that circulated among the town's children. Billy, the brave leader of the group, dared his friends to spend a night in the haunted treehouse. His friends, Sarah, Timmy, and Lily, hesitated, but eventually agreed. With sleeping bags, flashlights, and a bag full of snacks, they set off for the forest one gloomy evening. The forest was eerily quiet as they made their way deeper into it. The moonlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. The distant hooting of an owl and the rustling of leaves beneath their feet only added to their unease. But they were determined to reach the treehouse. After what seemed like hours of walking, they finally stumbled upon the ancient treehouse. It loomed before them, perched high in the gnarled branches of an enormous oak tree. Its wooden planks creaked ominously in the faint breeze, and the treehouse seemed to sway with an eerie rhythm of its own. As they climbed the rickety wooden ladder and entered the treehouse, a cold chill ran down their spines. The inside was dark, musty, and filled with cobwebs. The air was thick with a musty odor, and the walls were adorned with strange symbols and faded paintings. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Sarah whispered, her voice quivering. "Don't be scared, Sarah. It's just an old treehouse," Billy said, trying to sound brave. They set up their sleeping bags in a circle and illuminated the treehouse with their flashlights. They huddled together, munching on their snacks, and tried to forget the eerie feeling that hung in the air. Hours passed, and as the clock struck midnight, strange things began to happen. The treehouse began to creak louder, as if the tree itself was alive. Shadows danced on the walls, and the symbols seemed to come to life, glowing with an eerie, greenish light. Lily's flashlight flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in as they fumbled to relight it, their shaky hands causing the beam of light to dart around the room wildly. When the flashlight finally came back to life, they screamed in horror. Standing in the corner of the treehouse was a ghostly figure, its pale, translucent form swaying eerily. Its hollow eyes stared at them, and its bony fingers pointed in their direction. Timmy, his voice trembling, stuttered, "Ghost!" The ghostly figure began to glide toward them, and they scrambled to their feet, tripping over sleeping bags and snacks in their haste to escape. As they rushed down the ladder, they could hear the ghostly laughter echoing in their ears, chilling them to the bone. They emerged from the treehouse, gasping for breath, and ran as fast as their legs could carry them, not stopping until they were safely back in the town. The next day, they gathered at Billy's house to talk about the terrifying encounter. They couldn't shake off the feeling that they had awakened something in the haunted treehouse, something ancient and malevolent. The more they talked about it, the more they became convinced that they needed to confront their fears and put an end to the haunting. With determination in their hearts, they returned to the forest, armed with flashlights, candles, and a plan. As they reached the treehouse once more, they cautiously climbed up the ladder. The treehouse was eerily silent, and the symbols on the walls had stopped glowing. Billy lit a candle and placed it in the center of the treehouse. "We need to find out what's haunting this place," he said, his voice trembling. They held hands and began to chant an incantation they had found online, hoping it would reveal the truth behind the ghostly figure. As they chanted, the candle's flame flickered wildly, casting strange shadows on the walls. Suddenly, the symbols on the walls started glowing again, and a cold wind swept through the treehouse. The ghostly figure materialized once more, but this time, it didn't approach them menacingly. Instead, it seemed to be trying to communicate. The ghostly figure pointed to the symbols on the wall, and then to itself. Billy, now more curious than scared, began to decipher the symbols. He realized they were ancient runes that told a story of a lost soul trapped in the treehouse for centuries. Tears welled up in the ghost's eyes as it gestured to the treehouse and then to itself again. It wanted to be free, to find peace at last. The children, feeling a surge of empathy, decided to help the ghost. They followed the instructions in the runes, reciting an incantation that would release the spirit from its eternal prison. As they finished, a blinding light enveloped the treehouse, and the ghostly figure slowly faded away, leaving behind a sense of tranquility. The treehouse was no longer haunted, and the forest felt less ominous. The children climbed down from the treehouse, feeling a sense of accomplishment and relief. They had faced their fears and helped a lost soul find peace. As they left the forest that day, they couldn't help but look back at the once haunted treehouse. It stood there, bathed in the gentle glow of the setting sun, a symbol of their bravery and the enduring power of friendship. They knew that their encounter with the supernatural would be a story they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. A tale to tell around campfires and sleepovers, a story of the haunted treehouse in the spooky forest of Willowville.